You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Zambrano.
I am Evan Closky.
Back again, and we are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making Locked On Rays your very first listen every day. And remember, Locked On Rays is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube at Locked On Rays. Also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Rays, and email us anytime, lockedonrays@gmail.com. Well, today's an important day as the Rays will be facing off against the Cleveland Guardians in a best-of-3 set. But
an early one.
What's that?
An early contest.
Oh, they've already released the time?
The time, yes. So today is 12:07. Then tomorrow would be 12:07 as well. And then if there is a game 3, it will be on Sunday at 4:07. So you can get everything done, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, nothing to worry about, and nothing to wait for.
They should just put them on at 7 a.m. They really don't want people to watch these games.
They could. I saw a tweet that was like, if they could, they put them on at 3 a.m. on Cartoon Network. But
basically, yeah. We'll talk about game 1 matchup, lineups, all that. But we got to get to brass tacks here. We got to get to some important matters. There is somebody on Twitter that is incessant about figuring out and determining what Evan Closky's Walkup Song would be if he were a professional ball player. So let's have a little fun with this before we dive into some playoff action. Walkup Song. Closky, what is your jam?
What I really want to do a play on words is do Closer by the Chainsmokers. So you'd be the closer listening to Closer.
Okay.
So, that song just always gets me jacked up, though I'm sure the crowd wouldn't appreciate it as much. So I probably as of right now would lean towards something like The Business by Tiesto, which is you hear very often in stadiums now, like pretty much every in between innings, in between the puck going out of the off the ice. It's a very common song, which has a little bit more thump and bass to it that I think people appreciate with a closer song. But yeah, I'm not like a Hell's Bells or like Metallica, and that doesn't jack me up.
Yeah.
I'm very much into like those positive
Bass and treble
party vibes. That's pretty much that's what gets me juiced up. So that's what I'd be choosing.
I would have thought you would have gone with a Kenny G jam or something like that.
No.
Oh no.
I mean, I'm pretty open. I also would like to I'm not somebody that sticks with the same song. Like I would maybe stick for a season, but I'd also change it. If I got into a bad groove, I would change that thing so quickly.
You do the opposite of Evan Longoria, who just had that one song, the Tantric, whatever that.
Down and out. Yeah. No, I already know that Kevin's going rap.
Absolutely. 100%.
Okay, what do you got, Kevin? What do you got?
It's actually my namesake, Kevin Gates, although he's got so many hits, so many great songs.
Yeah, so many jobs, too.
What's that?
So many jobs.
Yeah, he's got 6 jobs. If you listen to Kevin Gates, man, I would probably be switching out a Kevin Gates song once a week or once a homestand. But I'll start with Satellites, I guess, kind of on top of the world, global, all that. So that would be my song to start, and then I'd basically just go down his essentials on Apple Music, and that'd be my walk-up jam. So
Interesting.
Ulises?
I'll put that on the listening box because I don't think I've heard any of his stuff willingly.
Kevin Gates is I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I think he's won a Grammy. I could be wrong. I mean, Closky, you know of him.
What, Kevin Gates? I don't know if he's won a Grammy, but
He's in the mainstream. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I know.
Is he in the mainstream?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
Well, I think if you've been listening to Locked On Rays for a while now, then you would understand that I do not know about the mainstream. And then my pick will tell you why, because I am a wannabe boomer. My walk-up song, I am the opposite of Evan Closky. I would want something rock. I would want to just hear the guitar strings on that amp, and I want to hear that drummer just go nuts. And for me, that song would have to be Helter Skelter by the Beatles. I mean, that would, every time I would go up there, I would be hacking. I would be doing, like Evan Closky says, daddy hacks every single time. Daddy hacks all night long, because Helter Skelter is that type of song that just jacks you up. So that's mine.
Nice. If you're a listener out there, YouTube watcher, comment what your walk-up song would be. Might have to circle back to that. I know that MLB.com did a compilation of best walk-up songs in the playoffs. A lot of these songs I don't recognize. I got to be honest, because I just don't really know like Latin American music. But I know that Edwin Diaz, his song, not his song, but his walk-up song, "Narco" by Blaster Jacks.
Yeah,
is a hit one.
That's pretty cool. And Wilson Contreras had it first. There's been like a whole rivalry thing between the two fan bases on who should have it.
Yeah. Ones I do recognize, actually, Isaac Paredes made the list. Todo Pareba by Miguel E. Miguel.
Yes, Miguel E. Miguel.
I think that's Michael and Michael. I think it's Michael and Michael. Yeah.
No, but Aaron Judge, just a couple of ones we might recognize. "Hello" by Pop Smoke, may he rest in peace. Oscar Gonzalez with the Guardians, SpongeBob SquarePants theme song.
Yeah, they do that.
I know that one.
Yeah. Alex Bregman, "Wanna Be a Baller" by Little Troy. Logan Gilbert, "Gangsta's Paradise" by Coolio, may he also rest in peace. He was too young. Bryce Harper, his song is "Flower" by Moby. And then the other one I recognize, or I've heard of this artist, Adam Wainwright, his walk-up song or his intro song, whatever you want to call it, "God's Country" by Blake Shelton. So, and then there's some other ones here too. So there we go.
Is he country?
He is country, and I am.
Okay.
I know. I probably
That's
couldn't.
as far as I go. That's as far as I go in my Blake Shelton knowledge. Is he country? Yes. Okay, I'm out.
I got to be honest. Just like people probably say all hip hop and rap sounds the same, I just assume there's like one country artist, two country artists, and they're all singing the same songs. Like that's, I can't differentiate one from the other, quite frankly. Yeah, I know Blake Shelton because he dated or was married to Gwen Stefani when he was on one of those talent shows too. So there we go. You go. All right, there's our pop culture minute there on the Locked On Rays podcast. We'll actually get into some baseball here. But first, we have to tell you about BetOnline.net. BetOnline.net is your number one source for football betting info this season. Find all the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcast, and in-depth articles and analysis on every game you can find. And as always, remains your continued source of sport wagering information with live betting and up-to-the-minute scores for every sport out there. The fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite games and events, including MLB, MMA, boxing, and golf. So head over to betonline.net or use that mobile device of yours to learn more. BetOnline, it is where the game starts. All right, guys, game one of this Guardians-Rays series. Presumably, again, I'm recording this on a Wednesday evening, so don't knock us here. But Shane Bieber, we assume, will be getting the ball game one. And maybe that's important, maybe it's not. But should we go ahead and go through what we think what we think the starting lineup should be for the Rays in this game?
100%. Who should we, of course, be nice and give Evan props here and go first?
Sure.
I will say this. I first want us to analyze what the two lineups will look like when they faced Bieber earlier this year. Just to understand. Now, it's very tough because the first time there were a lot of injuries, and there's a lot of people who changed in the second time. But there is a common theme here. So the first time around, you had Yandy, Brandon Lau, Arozarena, Choi, Isaac Paredes, Josh Lowe, Bethancourt, Roman Quinn, Yu Chang. Yu Chang, by the way, got 2 hits off of Shane Bieber. Josh Lowe had a hit off Shane Bieber. Choi had an RBI single, and Yandy Diaz also had a hit. Everybody else did not do anything. Now, the second time around, you had Margot, Arozarena, Wander Franco, who got a hit, Harold Ramirez, who got a hit, Isaac Paredes, David Peralta, who got a hit, Christian Bethancourt, who got a hit, Jose Siri, who hit a home run, and Taylor Walls, who also got a hit. Back-to-back games, so in 2 games, Isaac Paredes came up empty. Would not be surprised to see Yandy Diaz in that 1 hole and replacing Isaac Paredes, and Paredes not in the first lineup that we see against Shane Bieber and him coming off the bench.
I concur. So do we just want to give our 1 through 9?
Yeah, give me your 1 through 9, Evan. Yeah.
Yandy. I'm going to go Yandy. I'm going to go Randy, Wander, Harold. Then I'm going to have Peralta, Peralta, Margot, Bethancourt, Siri, Walls. I need to think about this one again.
Did you name too many players?
I did not. I'm kind
he
of.
needs one more. He needs one.
No,
more.
Walls is kind of that guy. First, I need to make the decision. Are we playing Walls in this game?
I think what you do if you're starting Taylor Walls, you take the automatic out in his spot. Just save the energy.
Right. I mean, who else would you put at second?
Well, I have a different of opinion right there, fellas. Like 100%. I would not start Taylor Walls.
So that's what I'm saying. Who are you putting at second base?
So my lineup, I'll give it to you so that you can kind of go off. I have G-Man Choi playing first, Wander Franco short.
But this isn't your batting at. Is this your batting order? You're having
you got G-Man Choi leading off?
Yeah, I do. Righty against lefty. I see pitches. He's feeling good at the plate. I'm going G-Man right off the lead up. And I want him to kind of get better pitches. Ugh. I want him to get better pitches because Wander Franco's behind him. So G-Man Choi playing first, Wander Franco short, Yandy Diaz third, David Peralta DHing because of the hip. I'm putting David Peralta in DHing because of the hip. Randy Arozarena in left field. Manuel Margot, right field. Isaac Paredes, second base. Francisco Mejia, backstop. Jose Siri in center field. My bench, Taylor Walls, Harold Ramirez, Bethancourt, and I had put Jonathan Aranda before we did our roster construction. So in this case, it would be Vidal Brujan.
Harold Ramirez. You cannot be sitting Harold Ramirez. He's your best hitter.
I am. I know, but I am. I know, but I am.
No way. You're not sitting.
I could not. I don't see the spot. I don't see the spot because the spot would be first base, but I want G-Man, the lefty against righty. I like that. I like that.
Could you don't see him at some point?
I think I mean, obviously he'll see an at bat and maybe like a couple at bats if there's a defensive replacement there. I guess you could make the argument that No, I want David Peralta there too. I mean, you don't have a lot of lefty sticks that have pop. Choi and Peralta are the only ones that do. So,
And Peralta
that's
hasn't
the
even
way
hit a
I'm-
home run with the Rays yet.
So that's the way I'm going. Choi, Franco, Diaz, Peralta, Arozarena, Margot, Paredes, Mejia, Siri.
I think Bethancourt's. I think Bethancourt's going to probably be the catcher. I mean, just reading the tea leaves.
Well, why not start Mejia if you want to take advantage of the lefty-righty thing?
It's a good point.
That's what I'm thinking. Like there were too many righties. Like I color coded my Excel spreadsheet,
Here,
and there's a bunch of blue.
I'll run through mine. And again, I did not. I just look. I've got it. Yandy, Wander, Randy, Harold Ramirez, David Peralta, Manny Margot, Francisco Mejia, Isaac Paredes, and Jose Siri.
And
I think you have to have a combination of Yandy, Wander, and Randy in the top 3 slots of the batting order.
That's
not necessarily that order, but you've got to have a combination of those 3 in the top 3.
I don't dislike that at all. I think those are.
I mean, the Yandy on base percentage, Wander, pure hitter, number 2 spot. Randy actually has some pop, drive them in, and then you move on down the order from there.
Here's the thing. What's interesting with Mejia, Mejia's splits, are tremendous against righties. I think he's sitting like north of 300 against righties. Yeah. But Shane Bieber does better against lefties. Bieber has a 2.59 ERA against lefties. He has a 3.12 ERA against righties. He's given up 9 home runs to both left and right. The doubles are a little bit more skewed for the righties, but honestly, he's faced 100 more batters and he only has 3 more doubles. So he's really kind of against righties, like he's giving up a lot. I think he's just giving up more hits, but he's not really getting. There's also 2 triples. So he's pretty even. I don't know if there's necessarily like the advantage. If you think that Mejia's best as a strong righty hitter can do better than the strong peripherals that Bieber has against lefties, then you go for it. But are you playing with fire, throwing too many lefties out there when he's proven that he's actually really strong against lefties? He's a really good pitcher, by the way. So, this is not.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're splitting hairs here because Shane Bieber is Shane Bieber. It's not going to be like, oh, well, he's actually awful against righties or he's awful against lefties. That's not going to happen. Kevin, I do like your idea of putting Yandy, Wander, Randy back to back. I love that. I would switch my lineup for that idea. That's a really good one. However, can you walk me through the positions though? Because
did I mess something up?
No. I just want to know how you would have, for example, you have Yandy, Wander, Randy, Harold, David, Margot, Mejia, Paredes, Siri. I only see 3 guys with a for sure position there. Wander shortstop, Mejia catching, Siri center field. Can you walk me through what Yandy would be, for example?
All right. I don't know how great podcasting this would be, but Yandy would play 3rd.
Okay.
And Paredes would play 2nd.
Okay.
So can I say something here?
Sure.
How are the Rays going to win this game?
They're not. And they're not going to win this series. I'm sorry. They're not moving beyond the first round.
It's not kind of the leading answer that I was looking for. But my thing is, all right, assuming that everybody in that locker room doesn't think the way that Kevin does,
right.
Here's my thought. You are going to beat the Guardians by what? Playing great defense.
Yes.
And being opportunistic. I don't think the trade-off is worth it to start Paredes at second versus just giving up the out and having Taylor Walls there. And that maybe late in the game when you need to pick a spot and Walls is up there with the bases loaded, 1 out, boom, now I'm going to go to Paredes. And now I'm going to.
But haven't we just said that Bieber is worst against righties? Paredes is only a righty. Walls would stand in and not bat in as a lefty. Like,
but I don't care because I want him. I want his glove out there. You have Randy, Siri, Margot, Walls, Franco, Yandy. I mean, really, the only liability is at first base.
I mean, but it depends on who. You're saying you would play Harold Ramirez at first. I'm saying I would play Choi.
I play Choi, and I'm probably hitting Harold Ramirez, and Peralta doesn't make my day one lineup. Which is silly, I guess, as a lefty. I understand that. But for me, I have to play Harold Ramirez. He's a contact hitter. I need him. Now, the other side of the argument could be if he's such a good hitter, and we do know he's a good pinch hitter, wouldn't it be best to insert him into the best situation in the game? I'm here to have that conversation. You know, I think there is something to be said about holding out Harold Ramirez for the right time. And because you do have a bunch of people on this team who can't make contact in big moments. I'm sorry. There's a lot of players on this team who have low averages, low barrels. It's just the way it is.
That big moment doesn't have to come in the 7th, 8th, or 9th. That big moment could be in the 3rd. It could be in the 2nd. And Taylor Walls is up there just sitting there with a wet newspaper. And what do we have?
To me, if you have, it depends on what that situation is. I mean, if you have bases loaded, no outs, and Taylor Walls is up in that situation, you're not
going to pull him in the 2nd or the 3rd.
I got Yandy Diaz behind him. I mean, if you have 2 outs in that situation in the 2nd, then you have to live with it. But I mean, it's also a 2-out situation. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. So, if that's the way that it lines up, I'm willing to take that risk and then just deal with it, because all I'm saying is, aren't you going to feel like crap if Isaac Paredes makes an error at second base? Being like,
let's not pretend Isaac
at second base. Why did we do that? We haven't really done that all season. Why are we doing that now?
But Isaac Paredes is not Jonathan Aranda at all. Like we have not. I don't believe.
Both of you guys tell me about Taylor Walls adjusting to second base and how hard it is compared to short.
I'm just saying, this whole season, I don't believe we've had an episode where we shellacked Isaac Paredes for a defensive miscue at second base. Kevin, do you remember one time where we were like, "Can you believe that Paredes error?"
How many times has he played second base?
You know what? Good question. I am going to find out.
No, I think he's serviceable, at least in the infield. Big picture here, though. Do you all? I've put my cards on the table. I don't think the Rays are winning this best of 3 against the Guardians. I think it's get squashed and go home and look at 2023. What do you all think? Honest assessment.
I mean, I don't think it's a squashing. I mean, first off, I'm just going off of what Vegas tells me, and they believe that this is the closest series, that the Rays have the best possibility of all of the wild card series to win. I think you have 2 teams that mirror each other. All right, I think you have 2 teams that don't have. The only difference is Cleveland has Jose Ramirez. The Rays do not. That is the X factor for them. They also got a guy named Stephen Kwan. Let me pronounce.
He's amazing.
Who's unbelievable and makes contact. They have a lot of guys who make contact, which is why I need good defense, because they are going to put the ball in play. You're not going to strike them out. These guys are going to make you work for it. But I think it's going to come down to who shows up that day. And I'm not trying to be a cliche, but I think the margin for error for both teams is extremely thin because they are the same type. I will say if the Guardians are leading entering the 8th inning, it's game over. You're not getting a hit off Karinchak. You're not getting a run off Karinchak. You're not getting a run off Clace. So Class A. But still, beyond that, I mean, if the Rays are going on their back end situation and you run into Adam Fairbanks, now that's not that duo, but that's also been a really strong duo for Tampa Bay as well. Not certainly perfect, but I would feel pretty good about Tampa Bay entering that situation, that late game situation. I feel pretty good about Tampa Bay's starting rotation. I think that McClanahan's a huge X factor, right? He has not looked good. He has not looked good recently. The McClanahan of the first half has gone. He's not getting swings and misses. He's not getting strikeouts. He's walking batters. He looked very much like the guy we saw last year. Maybe it's a little bit of fatigue, but I'm hoping that this man who has been in a World Series, thrusted into his first action as a major leaguer in the playoffs, who started last year against Boston and was stellar, had the moment in Boston, had the All-Star game moment this year with the nerves getting to him again, that I think he's going to be ready for the big moment. Is the stuff there? That's the question. And Terry Francona talked about it. He said, the one thing that the Rays have that we don't is experience. He's like, everyone wants to talk about how young the Rays are. Like, we're the ones who are young entering the series. We might have a better record. People might like the pieces more, but like they've been here, we have not. And so that experience, hopefully, we heard Eric Neander and Kevin Cash talk about last year after losing with 100 wins, that team in Boston saying, we hope that that's an experience that helps us down the line. Will it? Will it be worth it? Let's see.
I think we just saw a preview of what we're going to see in this wildcard series like 9 days ago. Very close matchups, not a lot of offense, really good pitching, starting and bullpen, and just key hits. And like you said, Evan, going down to the last out, 27th or maybe the 30th. If it goes in the extra innings, we just saw a preview of what we're going to see. It's going to be very tightly contested. I want to go back to the Isaac Paredes shade. 50 games he's played at third base, 42 games at second base. In innings wise, he's played 362 innings at third. He's also played 270 innings at second base. So it's not like,
but he's not Taylor Walls.
No, he's not Taylor Walls, but he's also not Isaac. Who am I thinking? Jonathan Aranda.
Yeah.
And by the way, he only had one error at second base in 271 innings. I know that that's subjective, but
some of the errors, maybe he just can't get to the ball too. I mean, if the errors,
subjective,
but
you don't
really dig into.
The point is, I don't want a situation where Taylor Walls has
a rook out there at second. I agree with that. I'm certainly.
Yeah, I can't put Taylor Walls in the starting lineup in the playoffs. I can't. Kevin Cash can, and he sure as heck probably will do that. I could not do that. I could not bring myself to do that.
I think I play defense first, and then if if I'm down a little bit, then I'm putting my offense out there and I'm pushing. I think it's a game of the slimmest of margins, and I'm just hoping my guys step up in the right moment.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Which of these teams has the better offense?
Oh, the Guardians.
Which of these teams has the better starting pitching staff?
Well, I mean, God, the Guardians rotation is so hot right now. I want to lean towards an even. On paper, the Guardians starting pitching has been elite for like half a year. Like the back half of the year, it's been amazing. So I don't know. I lean towards even. I think it's really a push.
Which of these teams has the better bullpen?
The Guardians. The Guardians have a better bullpen. Yeah.
Better defense.
I don't know enough about the Guardians, but I mean,
that one's a little bit tougher for me.
The Rays have certainly improved since whatever the hell we saw the first 2 months of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, it sounds like I don't know if I got an answer from you all on who's going to win this series. Is it going to be the Guardians or the Rays?
I'm going to go Rays. I got to go Rays because I feel like, the way that Kevin Cash has been managing the last 8 games, which has been incredibly frustrating as a fan because you always want to see W's and you don't want to see L's. But again, you understand why they were managed that way. I'm expecting these guys to just go out and eat the world. I'm expecting key hits. I'm expecting really good starting performances by McClanahan, Rasmussen, Springs, whoever gets the ball. Glass now looked really, really good in his 2 outings. He could potentially be a 5-inning guy, possibly more likely 4 innings. But if he could be stretched to 5, if he's doing well, my goodness, how are you not going to win that game when you also have, like Evan said, Fairbanks and Adams? So now you have 5 nice innings by Glass. Now then you put 2 more by Pete Fairbanks and Adam. Now you only have to cover 2 more. Just key offense. I think we got the right names in the roster construction from yesterday. I'm gonna go Rays, but I'm not gonna go in 2. I'm gonna go Rays in 3.
Okay.
I mean, I'm picking the Guardians to win the series, but I mean, again, it's just they're so hot, and the Rays really are not. Now, that's not to say anything about what we've seen the last handful of days. They made it to the playoffs. They kind of gave up, to be honest, and I don't blame them personally. I'd rather go through Guardians Yankees than Blue Jays Astros. So, I mean, if we're choosing a path, but the Guardians don't have many holes, but they are not the most. First off, the Guardians actually have weaker power than the Rays, and that's saying something. They're not somebody who's gonna take advantage of hitting home runs, or at least on paper, you would think. So you're not gonna have the long ball hurt you. You would think entering the series. Just like I don't think
for Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez is the biggest home run threat out of both of these teams. Yeah. And sometimes that's all that matters when you have the pitching stats that are going up against each other.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends, right? If it's, my starting rotation, McClanahan, Glasnow, Springs, all 3 of those guys can attack Jose Ramirez because it kind of works with the matchups. Beyond that, if it's not Brooks Raley, if it's not Garrett Clevenger, walk him. I don't give a crap. Yes. Do not Jose Ramirez beat me. Okay? If you remember back,
highlight that guy's name in the lineup. He is not going to beat us 100%. It
was Shane Bieber's first start in the Trop, where it was a 1-0 game, and then or it was a 1-1 game, and then Jose Ramirez hit a 3-run homer. And I know it was first and second, but I think it was 2 out if I remember correctly. And it was like it's like with Aaron Judge too. Like, just I don't give a crap. Put him on base.
Yes.
I'd rather the next guy beat me. And if the next guy beats you, if I'm a fan at home, I wouldn't be mad about it.
Sure. 100%.
Rays losing 3, but the games are very close. I know the verbiage I used wasn't necessarily fair to the Rays, but I don't think they win this series against the Guardians here. All right. We got to let's end on a positive note, a fun note, if you will. Quick baseball trivia, quick name that war. Let's go back into the archives here. I've got Cleveland Indians / Guardians top 10 home run leaders, top 10 career home run leaders for the Cleveland franchise.
Ramirez.
Yeah. Let me finish the question here. There's 10. I've got the top 10 list in front of me. I want 5 of those names. You got 2 of them already, Jim Tomei and Manny Ramirez. 3 more.
Albert Bell.
Correct.
Travis
Hafner.
Travis Hafner, correct.
Carlos Baega.
Strike 1.
Damn it. He was one of my favorite players growing up.
Not the first name, right?
We say Jose Ramirez?
Jose Ramirez is correct.
Yeah.
Number 10 on this list. Very good. yeah, a lot of these guys did it in our heyday of the 90s and early 2000s. Jim Tomei, 337 with the Cleveland franchise. Albert Bell, 242. Manny Ramirez, 236. Earl Averill, don't know who that is, 226. Carlos Santana, 216. Hal Trosky tied with Carlos Santana with 216. Larry Doby, don't know who that is, or Doby, 215. Andre Thornton, 214. Don't know who that is either. Travis Hafner, Tampa resident, 200 even. Jose Ramirez, 192, tied with Al Rosen, who also has 192. So there's the trivia question of the day.
Interesting.
Shout out to
Okay,
Kenny
so
Robb.
real quick here. Name that war where we take a guy from the past and we try to guess his career baseball reference war. The guy that I'm asking for you is not known as a Cleveland Indian back then. He's more known as a Boston Red Sox. His name is Coco Crisp.
Wow. My Lord. We're just going to go super quick. I'm going 8.6.
Yeah.
Done.
What was that? I couldn't hear you.
8.6, just off the top of my head. Not even thinking about it.
Fair enough.
Love the cereal, 14.7.
And you both have underestimated Mr. Crisp so badly. A ring winner of the 2007 World Series with the Boston Red Sox. His career baseball reference war is 28.9.
Wow.
28.9, 309 stolen bags, a 265 batting average, an on base of 327, slug of 402. That's a 729 OPS, an OPS plus of 96, a 130 career home runs for Mr. Coco Crisp.
I cannot believe he played 14 seasons.
Unreal, right?
He can also avoid a punch from James Shields.
I know that there is a world out there, like a metaverse or whatever it is called, the quantum physics, where James Shields does in fact make contact with Coco Crisp's left part of his jaw, and it's a great universe. Like there's world peace, there's beautiful things out there. The Rays have a great offense that's stable, 5 runs a game. It's beautiful in that universe.
This man played 14 seasons, and he was never an all-star, never nothing. He did finish 15th in MVP voting in 2013, so he has that.
Made money, though. Yeah. All right, guys.
Yeah, he did. All right. Hope everyone enjoys the series, and hopefully I'm wrong on my prognostication there.
You know what? Before we go, drop your lineups on the comments on YouTube, please and thank you. We want to see how close you get to ours, how close you get to the actual one that Kevin Cash makes up on Friday.
Very good. All right. Thank you for making the Locked On Rays podcast your very first listen every day. Now make your second listen the Locked On MLB podcast. That is also free and available on all platforms. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you next week.